Hey guys, Tracy here, Ken's Garden Guy, Summer Pick Farms. What's up? Um, yeah, actually getting some good ones today. So I think we're going to be able to make our order this week. Um, and yeah, you tend to get a little stressed out from time to time. At least I know I do. Um, I'm that type of person that always wants to be prepared. Um, I was always uh, raised into doing everything 120%, and you don't halfway anything. And so it's hard for me sometimes when there's things like this. See, like this is a double cucumber here, so we'll give that to the chickens. When you're kind of on nature's schedule, kind of control by your varieties and your plant dates and stuff, and you can always count back. It's like anything else. Try to control when your harvest date's going to be, but for the most part, you're kind of up to Mother Nature, and so it makes it tough. And for someone like me I like to be in control of the things like this that I can control. Makes it a little tough, but you know what? We'll make it through. But yeah, so like I said, this is a every other day for us. We just come through here, and today I was waiting for clips to come so I could get some of this stuff done and finally get these things trellised. So I wasn't prepared for that, but they came a day early, so I'm pretty excited. Man, these things, gosh, these Excelsiors are awesome. If you guys are wondering, this is what they call kind of like a middle of the road cucumber. It's bigger than the small ones you see that you're used to seeing, like they call them snacking cucumbers. These are supposed to be anywhere from like 6 to 8 inches, and these are Excelsior, and these come from Johnny's Seeds. And so, yeah, this is a new variety we wanted to try this year. Usually I just do the long style cucumbers, the Japanese style cucumbers, which are what you guys have seen. I'm sure if you guys go to the store, you've seen the English ones there. We just grow the Japanese version of them. I think they're a little better cucumber. I think I've said that before. But they just have not started yet. I've got a ton of blooms on them, but they just haven't started to produce fruit yet. So, which is okay, because I knew these Excelsiors came on a little bit early. So that's why I didn't have no issues. Man, look at these. That's why I didn't have any issues going forward. I was really not planning on these guys growing this much, which is awesome though. Oh my Lord. But yeah, so just kind of follow along today. And I've had some people ask about our soil. And if you guys have not watched some of our other videos, I suggest going back and kind of watching some of the videos, how we got here, what we do for our high tunnels and stuff. But to answer that question, I answered it in the comments, but let's go ahead and answer it here on the video. Is we use this year, we've always used a deep mulch, like a deep compost mulch blend. It's usually something that I usually make here on the farm, and then we use it. But what I did find, which a lot of people find out, is when you when you make your own compost, you're kind of tied to what you use in your compost. Like around here, I use a lot of grass clippings and a lot of, a little bit of chicken manures and stuff like that, because that's the stuff that I have on hand. So I tend to use a lot of that. And it got real weedy. Ran into a lot of issues with the commercial composter that we had here. It seemed to work out okay for us for the first couple years, and then the quality just went in the tank. And for the money you're spending on commercial compost, your quality should be amazing. And it just wasn't cutting it anymore. So we did find another composter on the other side of where we live. And so I went all in with them this year. You guys, I said I went all in with them. I got 40 yards of compost. And oh my Lord, look at this. But I got 40 yards of compost from them this year, and that's what we started growing in. And man, it seems to make a difference when you actually find someone that actually knows what they're doing and cares Look at these cucumbers. And actually cares about what you're doing. When you find somebody that knows what they're doing and actually cares about what they're doing, you know, when you actually find a company that actually cares about what they're doing and they care about what their name is, man, it makes a huge, huge difference. Let's take a walk over here to these Nokias. We just went through that Excelsior, and we'll weigh it here pretty soon. I'll show you what we got. Look at these Nokios. Man, look at the blooms on these. I really have to get in here and do some trellis. Here, oh, here we go. Look at that. There you go, right there. There's a Nokio right there. We're going to give it another 2 days. Hopefully it doesn't overgrow. There's another one there. But yeah, so now that the clips, see, there we go. Yeah. We're going to start putting out here pretty soon. So now that the clips are here, we are also, after I get these cucumbers up and weighed so we can check them out, we're going to head into tunnel number 1. We're going to start there with the clipping. Oh, I think this one's going to have to get, oh yeah, look at this. That is going to be a good cucumber. That one I'll save for my wife tonight for our salads for supper. Anyway, guys, I'm going to grab that tote. Man, these things are looking good. It's almost as tall as me. This side's a little bit messier than the rest of the tunnels I have. This is what I'm going to be working on today. This is my goal. Is setting a goal today on getting this tunnel done before day's end. So what I've got to do in here is I've got the rest of the Nokios here. This is that row, that 50-foot row of Nokios in here. I think there's 50. There's 50 more cucumbers in here, so that leaves us at 250. And I think we have like 12 over there. So let's say 250, 260 plants for cucumbers. So this is the rest of them. I put them over here because I just do not have the heart to throw cucumber plants away, especially when they're super healthy. So we had a bed that was going to be open here. And so we just went ahead, and this is our kind of the land of lost toys over here. So we've got Nokios over here. We've got peppers over here for us. We've got another row of heirloom tomatoes, and then we've got another row of heirloom tomatoes right here. So we've got two 50-foot rows in here, which is 100 plants. And then we've got some peppers for our usage and stuff here. I know you have to, and I do for the most part. So I knew cucumbers and tomatoes was going to be a big thing on our menu list this year we were going to sell, so I wanted to throw in as much of that as possible. So I put all the extras over here. So, of course, once again, we have German Johnson, we have Brandywine, and we have Cherokee Purple. That's what we're going to be working on. Or my wife and I last night, we trimmed these up a little bit. You can see the debris on the ground. We trimmed these up, and we put these on clips today just to get them acclimated to growing. Once they reach the top here, like that other tunnel, we will lay them down, crisscross applesauce them. So let's just get started on this today. I got to get my stuff on, and then we're just going to just go right in and attack this. I think everybody should have one good gardening apron. So, and then I have all the supplies I need in front of me. I have a little 2-foot step ladder here, a little aluminum one. It's really easy in these tunnels. It's really easy to get up and down on these trellising. Some of these you can almost reach. As you can see, I can touch this wire and pull this down, use my roller hooks or whatever. But sometimes on some of these, when it gets close to those support bars, it's 10 feet off the ground. Well, I'm not tall enough. You know, I'm only 5'9", so I'm not tall enough to reach up there and actually grab it. So this little lightweight ladder works very well here, that I could jump up, grab the roller hooks that I need off of here like this, put them on there, do whatever I got to do. So you want to grab something easy. I would suggest something small like this because you really don't need, I've got a couple, you know, of those 5-foot ladders. I use those in here. It's kind of a nightmare trying to get around with a bigger ladder, so smaller is always better. A little expensive, but you know what? It's going to be well worth it. It's something that I'm going to use for years and years and years, so it'll make its money back. And then I like to keep a bucket. This one, just a clear plastic bucket that's got some landscaping staples in it. And it's also got some extra tomahawks in it here. We don't need the tomahawks in here because this tunnel is completely roller hook tunnel. Like I said, this is the only one I've got that's a roller hook tunnel. You always want to watch where you put your hand because either a spider or an assassin bug. Oh my God! Last thing you want to do is get bit by an assassin beetle or an assassin bug. So you always want to watch where you put your hands. But anyway, this one is all roller hooks in here, and then the rest of them we went through tomahawks. You guys have seen me talk about that already in the past. So less yakking, more working. Usually I'd have my Bluetooth speaker on, and be jamming to some music right now. But since I'm taping, copyrights, can't have music going on. So you're just gonna have to pretend that's going on in your head. And so, like I said, I made it about halfway with these roller hooks the last time, because I did run out of landscaping staples. And so I just got that order in. So we're just going to go ahead and get started on it. So I'm going to look and say, I don't have any roller hooks. I don't have any roller hooks in my pocket here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some back here. I've got this row right here that we had carrots in, and we're not going to use this until this fall. So see, once again, this is where the ladder comes in handy, because I'm too flipping short. Oh, this is a mess. I need to grab that last one too. So what was going to happen for this year, but since we've got the other tunnels now, I did not have to use this space. And I could have, it could have very easy, could have went through here and used it, but we didn't. Yeah, my goal is to make these tomatoes stand straight up. I don't want it super tight, but I do want it taut. So that way they will take a couple days after I go through here and really, really trim all the suckers up. And then it will have these guys. See, I just kind of go touching the ground here. And that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm just going to get rolling on this so we can get moving further. I'm just going to push you guys back and let you guys kind of take a peek here and watch me what I'm doing. All right, guys, it's been a couple days since the beginning part of the video. It's been hot. We're hitting that high upper 90s, low 100s. It's 8:30 at night right now, so we just got some watering done on the zucchini and squash. So I decided it's probably a good time to come out here. It's still muggy, but at least it's not hot, to show you what I am doing to trellis these things. You guys have heard me call it crisscross applesauce. That's just what we call it, but it is just the lower and lean method. So if you're thinking you're finding something new, you're not. You're just seeing how I do it. Now, there's 3 steps that I use to crisscross applesauce. The first step is to prune your leaves and suckers. Now, these are indeterminate tomatoes that you see here. These are cherry tomatoes. All of these are cherry tomatoes. So they are indeterminate, which means they will grow and grow and grow and grow. As long as you give them a means to grow, they will grow. It's not uncommon to see 20 to 40 foot, 50 foot tomato plants. I know it sounds weird. I've heard of people actually growing longer tomato plants than 40 feet. The first tunnel we have is determinate, which means they are determined to a size and a height that they grow genetically, and that's all they'll grow. These are indeterminate. As long as we keep forcing these to grow, they will grow. So what we do is we come in here and I hardcore intensely prune. Now, some people will just prune like up to this first fruit set, like right in here, and leave these leaves here. And then as they graduate up to the next pack of fruit, they will leave everything out, and then they eventually will make their way up. Because when you see this first set of fruit start to ripen, I start taking the leaves off to the second set. This one here is a bad example because I did not take the leaf off that, so I need to take that one off. But you can see there, and see multiple sets of fruit there, and you can see how hard I prune this. Some people prune a little bit. I like to intensely prune. I like to overstress my plants, and the reason why is because I want them to set fruit. I want them to condense sugars. I want them to do fight or flight. So that way they will intensely grow their fruit sets. That's how we get these clusters. I mean, that's how you get these hanging clusters. So what I like to do is, when I get to do this, is there's 2 ways of doing this. This is a 100-foot tunnel. I've got 300-foot rows. We've talked about this before. Instead of doing 500-foot rows, I did 300-foot rows, and I made my rows 3 foot wide instead of 30 inches wide. I did that so each row would be 2 beds. So I can put 2 rows of tomato in that row, 2 rows in this row, and 2 rows in the third row. So what that does is I can put a tomato plant every 12 inches in this tunnel, but I stagger them 2 feet. So if you get, here, let me turn you around. You can see that. See how this row, this is 2 feet, but the next plant is a foot across. Ooh, look at that. There's a tomato worm right there. See that? Look at that little sucker. I was just telling my wife, last night I need to get in here and get some spray on these guys to keep that from happening. But anyway, get sidetracked here. So that's why I can put 600 plants in here. I'm sorry, 600 plants. That way I can put 300 plants in these 3 rows versus only putting a tomato plant every 2 foot to give it space and only putting 50 in each row. So if you take 50 plants per row, which is a 100-foot row divided by 2, that's 2 foot. So 5 rows, 5 times 50 is 250 plants. The way that I'm doing this, I'm getting 300 plants out of the same greenhouse. Yes, it's a lot more work because these plants are very, very close together, but we're trying to grow as much as we can. You know, we're market farmers, we're making money, this is our livelihood, so I'm trying to maximize my space. I've always said greenhouses, high tunnels, polytunnels, whatever you want to call them, hoop houses, hot houses, whatever you want to call them, that is the most expensive piece of property on your real estate. Hands down. This thing costs the most. This has got the best dirt in it. You are making the most money. You want to maximize your profits here to get some of that back. So what I'm going to do here is there's multiple ways of doing this. I've seen people start at the front of the tunnels, and then you lay one row going this direction, and then the back row going this direction. If you only have one row going down, you don't have to worry about it as much. Now with 2, I can't have them go in the same direction because everything will be going one way. Some people will like to go to the front of the tunnel here, like you see. I've got a plant right here at the beginning. This plant has nowhere to go. I can't go out the door. So this plant obviously has to go towards the back of the tunnel there. Well, what do you do about the plant at the end? It can't go towards the back. It's got to come this direction, right? So you're saying, well, how are you going to do that? This is how we do it. I like to go to half of the tunnel. I like to divide my rows in half. So I will come about yonder here. I'm probably about in the middle, right about here. As you can see, I'm in the middle right here. So what I will do is I will take this section of the row and go this way, the front to the back, and then I'll take the back to the front. So I'm going to pass the camera on to my wife so you can see what I'm talking about, and then I'll show you. So you want to grab, this is the plant I'm going to grab. See this one here? This one's about my height. This is where it starts to be. Once it reaches my height, this is when I like to lower and lean this or start this process. So as you can see, if you just let this go, its gravity is going to pull this plant down. It's just the way it is. You've got leaves, you've got gravity, you've got fruit. So we are going to let this naturally go this direction because this is the half of the tunnel. This set of fruit is going to go this way. This set of fruit is going to go that way. That's how we're going to get the maximum amount of space. Now, this is not going to go all the way to the front of the tunnel. It's not going to go 50 foot. I'm not going to let it go that far. Now, who's to say it doesn't go 6 or 7 plants and then that's the end of it for the season? That's probably where it's going to be, and that's what I want. So I'm going to just get the tomahawk here, and I'm going to take some of this twine out, and I'm just going to play with it and see by looking at it and be like, I kind of like that. I'm going to try one more. I'm going to try it, and I'm just going to rehang it. See how this is gradually leaning here? I may or may not like this. And you know, you don't want to push this. If you push this, you will break the stem. You want gravity to pull this up. So I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up one, and I'm going to hook it. See how it starts to turn like this? This is going to want to grow straight up to the sunlight. So that's going to be our friend. And as we trim this off, The stem is just going to lay down like in a racetrack, and that's where you get your crisscross, because you're crisscrossing the stems to maximize your high tunnel effort. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to come down to this next one here. I'm going to take this one, and I'm just going to lower it and see where it wants. See how this one's wanting to naturally lay down more because it's got a heavier fruit. So I am going to just put one on here, and I'm going to look at it and say, I'm going to do two. So like I said, this is kind of like for your eye. You're kind of naturally going to look at it and decide what you like and what you don't like. This plant here, I know, is going to go this direction. So I'm just going to hold this. See how it's starting to lay down right here? These two are laying down. This is what I want. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to grab the next plant. And then I'm going to take some of the twine off here. And I'm going to go down one. I'm going to go down two because it's a lot heavier plant. Now look at this. See how it's lowering down? And then it's naturally going to curve up. When it comes to the top of this trellis again, I'm going to lower it again. So what I like to do is every week, I do a specific job in each tunnel. So this tunnel here is the Thursday, Friday tunnel. So Thursday and Friday, I spend the majority of my time in here. Today is Friday, so that's what we're doing. We're lowering and leaning today. Yesterday was Thursday. I did all of removing the suckers and the lower leaves yesterday, and then I come back to trellis. You could try to do this all in one day. You guys got to remember, there's 300 tomato plants in here. It's 90-some degrees, 300 tomato plants. You do not want to get overworked and overheated in here. This is nothing worth dying over or having a heat stroke. So you want to take your time at doing this, especially at this time of year, because none of us are getting any younger. And I'm really bad at it. I tend to like to overwork myself because I think I have to. I have something to prove. And sometimes it gets me in trouble. So I've learned as I've gotten older to just chill out a little bit. It will get done tomorrow, or if it doesn't, it gets done the next day. It's not that big of a deal. And so I will go up to the next step here, and I'll lower it. You guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. Like I said, it's a lot easier when you just have one row of plants. This one kind of got tangled up. You got one row of plants in the row because you don't have to worry about the one. But since we have two, the one in front and one behind, it kind of gets a little hairy. And see how this is laying down now? See, now this is curved because this was laying down. So now, naturally, what's going to happen is this is going to want to straighten back up, and it's going to want to climb that. You don't want to force these plants to do that. You want to let them do it naturally. Sometimes you want to force it. Trust me, I've broken off many a plant by trying to force it. See how I'm laying this down? This one here is a littler plant, so I'm not going to get so extreme with it, but I'm still going to lower this down. See how it's just barely lowering down? And then I'm going to grab this one. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to lower this down. See how they're starting to lay now? And there's a lot of companies that make different designs for this. I've never used it, but one that I've liked to try that I've never tried so far is from Never Sink Farms. I started using some of their stuff this year. They actually have like a trellising system that actually has almost like a cage that you put in the ground that these can racetrack up to help keep them off the ground. But see, I don't have to worry about that because I've got landscaping fabric here. So I don't have to worry about these getting dirty. Hence another reason why we put landscaping fabric on. So that way we can keep the dirt and water off these things. Make these tomatoes beautiful. So we're going to hang this up. And see, I put this clip on yesterday. And I'm sitting here watching this. And I don't like the way this is laying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this. And I'm going to restation this clip up here. So I can kind of get this to curve up a little bit. So we're going to grab this one. We're going to see where it naturally wants to lay. We don't want to force this. If this doesn't want to lay right, we won't lay it right. So see, I'm not laying this down as much because I want this to grow first so I can fill in the gap here. Some of these are a little taller than others. Just depends. Every plant's got a different vigor. So, you may have to play around with this. But as the season goes on, these are all going to catch up. And you can see, you could do this pretty easy. This is something you can do after work, or as you go. Not everybody's going to have, 300 tomato plants in their backyard. So, this is just kind of the extreme. And you put a good podcast on or turn some classic rock and roll on or something like that. And man, you could really just hump through this. But yeah, this is pretty much the gist of it, guys. It doesn't get any. I mean, nothing in market gardening's hard. It's only as hard as you make it. So I think I'm going to leave you guys with this. If you guys got any questions, leave it in the comment section down below, and I'll try to answer it. And if you want me to slow down and make another video doing this, I have cucumbers and tomatoes out the wazoo, so I can literally make another video. If you have something else you want to talk about, give me a holler, leave a comment down below, and we'll discuss it and maybe put it in a future video. I'm at the end of this row right here. I think this is where I'm going to leave you today. Make sure if you guys want to follow more content like this, follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Summer Pig Farms. And also, thank you guys for subscribing and watching the channel. Make sure you guys give us a big thumbs up. See, I don't have that. See, it's just simple. You just kind of change it up, whatever you want. There's no rhyme or reason. But I've got a lot more of these tomatoes to hang up, and I'm sure you got better things to do than watch me do this. But if you guys got any questions or comments, make sure you leave them down below. Maybe we'll use them in a future video. And if I went too fast for you guys still do have questions, I've got all this left to do and a whole nother high tunnel full of. But anyway, guys, I got to get to work. I will see you later. You guys have a great week.